Good evening, my name is Katarzyna Nowicka and welcome to Poland Daily News. Nearly 2,000 people have been infected and 26 have died. These are the current figures of the COVID-19 pandemic in Poland. The latest information on the state of the epidemic in Poland was presented in the afternoon by the Ministry of Health. The head of the ministry, Łukasz Szumowski, announced that over 5 million masks, 32,000 jumpsuits and 6 million gloves will be donated to infectious hospitals, but also to other hospitals, healthcare points and pharmacies.
At the moment, we have about 10,000 beds and 1,200 ventilators in infectious wards and hospitals, of which 1,300 beds and 50 ventilators are currently being occupied. As you can see from these figures, we still have the possibility to hospitalize large groups of patients. However, we must not be complacent, because the increase in cases will be exponential in the coming weeks, and we expect a very rapid growth in the number of infections.
The global pandemic is also giving rise to tensions in Polish politics. The opposition is demanding to postpone the presidential elections scheduled for May this year, and this statement is being echoed by more and more politicians from the ruling party. Until recently, it seemed as if May 10th would definitely remain as the date for the presidential elections in Poland. However, there are more and more voices coming from the ruling Law and Justice Party that the elections should be postponed. Current President Andrzej Duda, running for re-election, admitted himself in an interview last Saturday that in face of the epidemic, the date may change.
However, if the epidemic keeps spreading and we will be forced to keep the current discipline and limitations, I think the date of the elections may have to be moved. Nonetheless, I hope we will be able to hold the elections without any problems. I think it is important that the situation is stable first when it comes to the functioning of the state, power and system.
According to the opposition, the recent changes to the electoral code made by the ruling party are an attempt to force the elections to take place on May 10th, whatever the cost. One of the main opponents of Andrzej Duda, Małgorzata Kidawa-Błońska from the Civic Platform Party, appealed to other candidates to boycott the elections. Later, she announced that she is suspending her campaign entirely. Some of the other candidates had already appealed for the elections to be postponed. They haven't joined the boycott, but are demanding a different date for the elections.
They dropped their masks. With the changes made during the night in the Sejm, the ruling party showed its true colors. They are not interested in the fight with the coronavirus, nor in saving Polish companies and places of employment. They are only interested in the political fight. We need to stop this pointless discussion about the elections. We need to stop the madness of Kaczyński, who holds all the cards in the country today. Kaczyński will be responsible for every infection if the elections take place on May 10th. These elections should not take place on May 10th. A boycott is wavering citizens' rights. It's the authorities who should retreat from this madness and postpone the elections, not the citizens. We need to stand united on this, not give up separately. I was and I am ready to talk with other candidates.
Today, the spokesman of the Polish president, Błażej Spychalski, informed that the decision on whether the elections will indeed take place on May 10th should be made after Easter. He also stated that there are no signs today suggesting that a state of emergency should be introduced in Poland. The Senate began deliberations on the anti-crisis shield, which was voted by the Sejm on Saturday morning. Within this framework, 212 billion zloty is to be allocated to help save the economy and jobs from the negative effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki convinced senators to quickly vote for this statutory package. According to the head of the government, there's no time to waste.
The current situation we are facing is unprecedented. A crisis is beginning which will precede the entire global, European and Polish economies. We are facing challenges that our predecessors did not face, because this approaching crisis is very specific, very unique. Now, if I can say so, the entire state orchestra, all legislative institutions relative to executive power, but also local government authorities must work together and figure out the best possible solutions in these troubling times.
The coronavirus pandemic is changing the entire world. Because of the threat and the resulting rigors, societies are already changing their habits and customs. There are many indications that quarantines implemented by many countries as a basic measure in the fight against the epidemic will be extended not only to April, but perhaps also the following months. The only way to win the fight with the coronavirus and bring great results is international solidarity. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, spoke today about the need for solidarity. He is in quarantine due to the coronavirus infection.
I want to thank everybody who has been complying with our instructions to stay at home. And we've already seen massive falls in railway usage, I think down about 95%, bus usage down about 75%. People really trying to work from home if they possibly can. And that's what we want. Stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. Again, I want to thank everybody in the NHS. I want to thank all our public sector.
To date, 20,000 confirmed cases of infection due to the SARS-CoV-2 virus have been reported in the United Kingdom, and 1,231 people have died due to the disease. The British government announces that restrictions introduced earlier on social distancing can be maintained even for half a year. Too quick a return to normalcy could trigger a second wave of epidemics. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, who spoke a few days ago about the need to open the economy and prolonging the state of epidemic threat, now announced that the restrictions will be extended until the end of April.
I'm prepared to do whatever is necessary to, number one, save lives, and number two, bring our economy back strong, just like it was before.
Nearly 2,500 fatalities due to COVID-19 have been reported in 48 U.S. states so far. Only 2 states registered no fatalities due to coronavirus, Hawaii and Wyoming. However, the World Health Organization predicts that the United States may become the second epicenter of the pandemic after Europe.
We're talking about 2.2 million deaths. 2.2 million people from this. And so if we could hold that down, as we're saying, to 100,000, it's a horrible number. Maybe even less, but to 100,000. So we have between 100 and 200,000. We all together have done a very good job. But 2.2 up to 2.2 million deaths, and maybe even beyond that, I'm feeling very good about what we did last week.
The country most affected by the pandemic is Italy, where the number of deaths is increasing. The coronavirus has claimed the lives of 11,700, and the number of infections exceeded 97,000. In an interview with the economic journal Il Sole 24 Ore, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte appealed to the European Union to not make tragic mistakes during the pandemic. He warned that the whole European Union is in danger of losing its meanings in the eyes of the EU nations. That's all for tonight. Now on to Poland Daily Business with Aleksander Wierzejski and his guest. Good night.